hype about living the dream? It's time for truth. This is the place for tools, power, and real talk so you can create the life you dream and deserve. Your ultimate life. Subscribe, share, create. You have infinite power.
Welcome to Your Ultimate Life. First, right now, go to www.yourultimatelife.ca. There's some powerful things there. 5 master keys to create your ultimate life. What is the ultimate life? I don't know. Cash, freedom, joy, health, wealth, good relationships. What is it for you? I don't know what it is for you. For me, it's having a purpose. My purpose is to serve you. My purpose is to encourage you, to love you, to remind you of how great you are, your possibilities, your capabilities. I'm surrounded because I surround myself with people who are doing good, adding good to the world. I just had a chance the other day, just a couple of days ago, from when I'm recording this. It'll be some weeks ago when you see it. But anyway, to get reacquainted with a fellow that I'm going to have on my LA Talk radio show pretty quick. And he's a Wim Hof instructor. Now, if you don't know who Wim Hof is the Iceman. He's a Dutch guy, W-I-M-H-O-F, like 3 letters and 3 letters. Shortest name I know, Wim Hof. He's renowned for his ability to withstand cold, his breathing techniques and everything else. But it isn't just some weird circus thing. It is increasing lifespan. It does good stuff for your parasympathetic nervous system and so forth. And I'm doing some of it. I have been using, cold showers because everybody knows that cold showers are good for you. It does all kinds of good stuff in your body, but I've taken it way up a notch. Every day, 6 days a week, for the last 2+ months, I've been taking an ice bath every morning. And I lay in an ice bath. That is straight cold water with a whole bunch of ice thrown in it to get it as cold as I can get it for about 15 minutes. Why am I doing such a thing? Well, it does a whole bunch of stuff. And this isn't a Wim Hof advertisement or a cold therapy advertisement, but the professional athletes and sports figures and extreme athletes and all those use cold therapy because it does cool stuff to your body. Now, I've got, as you know, if you've watched many, many podcasts, I've got a wrecked back. Just about a year and a half ago, it finally showed up. 20 years ago, I had an x-ray that told me I had some disc problems and so forth. About a year and a half ago, it showed up. And by showed up, I mean my right side went numb. It was in terrible pain. Went to the hospital for a day, morphine, actually hydromorphone drip, all that stuff. And then I went to physical therapy for many months, etc. So here I am a year and a half later, still having pain on my right leg and sciatica where the pain moves up and down and all that jazz. Not whining, not complaining, but I am using all kinds of stuff to fix it, to heal it. Because you know what I know? I know for sure your body can heal itself. The DNA instructions to even rebuild things like your discs in your back and cartilage in your bones are there. So this kind of stuff helps activate it. So anyway, this isn't about that, but that's one of the things that I have changed to do that, to create my ultimate life, because I have a mission. My mission this year is to reach 250 million people. 250 million people. That's you. Why do I want to reach you? Well, several reasons. 1, I want to love you. I want you to know that you are loved. 2, I want you to know that you have incredible capability. I want you also to know that most of us are living far below our magic, far below our ability to add good to the world, to literally do magic, to create stuff you might think today is impossible or miraculous. You have that ability. It's like I said, you can regrow parts in your body. You can. It's been documented. So this isn't about contests or proof, but the question for all of us is, why do we live so far below our opportunities, far below our creative capacity? Why do we do that? Well, that is the whole topic of the ultimate life. It is to recognize your ability and mine to create anything we want in life and then to set about doing it, not just to talk about it. That's the reason I write books. So www.yourultimatelife.ca is 5 master keys for your ultimate life. If you haven't purchased this book, please do. Not because I want to sell books, but because this book is everything I've learned in 17 years about how to create an awesome, powerful day. Why do you care about creating a day? Declarations, documents, contracts between you and the universe, morning creation processes that set you on fire, kind of like this phoenix behind me. I hope you're watching the video because this guy right here looks like he's wrestling a phoenix. There's a guy in the picture, a flaming eagle or phoenix or something. The truth is we can wrestle the universe and win. You can control, send information, energy, wishes, hopes, and creative power into the conscious unified field, if you will, and create stuff. I know that sounds all woo-woo, but it's true, and there's zillions of experiments that demonstrate that. So then the question is, why aren't we? Now, you might be one that's living your ultimate life. You may love every single day and single thing about your life. And if you do, I want to meet you. And the reason I do is because I love having conversations with and adding to the circle around me of people who have and are living that way, and to talk about how we might work together and add good to the world. Heaven knows, like I'm recording this in the middle of the United States election season, all kinds of negativity and garbage going on every side of the equation. All kinds of accusations and people saying everybody else wrecked whatever. And the truth is each of us individually has power to create our lives, and you exercise that power either accidentally or on purpose. This is your invitation to exercise it on purpose, to create the prosperity you crave. I was just looking at a piece of a news clip, and elections coming up in the U.S. I live in Canada, and elections coming up here too, but I think it'll be after the U.S. election. Here's the thing. Think about this. The top of mind issue is inflation, costs of goods, the economy, money. Can't afford a house, can't afford payments, can't afford a car. Do you know that you can overcome that, you by yourself, no matter what the government does? Most of us don't want to do the work. And I don't mean get 6 jobs, and I don't mean work yourself to death. It's changing what we think and the signals and energy of expectation that we create. Whether you think you can or think you can't, you're right. You know that saying, I do too. And we look at it and we wish it were true and then say, I think I can. And then we wonder why Amazon doesn't deliver gold bars. Well, it just doesn't work like that, but it does work. All right. So if you are living your ultimate life, please reach out to me. Meetwithkellen.com. meetwithkellen@gmail.com. Meetwithkellen@gmail.com. We can talk, and maybe you want to be a guest on here, because if you have a message, I'd love to share that with my audience. I'd love to broadcast your thoughts and feelings about adding good to the world and creating your ultimate life. I have guests on here, if you watch regularly, that have that message. I have one coming up right quick, Dr. Tina Greenbaum, and she's got all kinds of insights that'll be in fact, she was just last episode. This is the one after her. So this is fabulous. And there are more and more and more coming. If you're not living your ultimate life, are you going to do something about it, or just listen to podcasts that tell you can? This is your invitation. Now, here, change direction, increase the trajectory, even if it's only a half a degree or 1 degree change. Ask a pilot, change your trajectory 1 degree. You're heading 1 degree, and pretty quick, you're way off course or on a new heading course. Okay, so that's what the invitations. Go to yourultimatelife.ca. Get a hold of me. Let's talk. I'd love to get to know you anyway, because I love you no matter what. And my whole effort and energy is to help you create the life you want in every aspect. Health, wealth, and relationships, and every other piece. And you can, if you're willing to do that. All right. So the thing I wanted to talk about today more than anything, the last few episodes, I've talked a little bit about transitioning and death and that kind of thing. I talked about what dying taught me about living. I'm one of those weird people that had the experience of crossing over to the other side, beyond the veil of death for a time, and being conscious for that, making some observations, having some conversations, and then making a conscious, intentional choice to return, because I felt I wasn't complete with the work that I wanted to be engaged in. And you're that work. You your health, wealth, happiness, joy, creativity. My goal this year, as you know, is to reach 250 million people with what? With a message that you can have anything you want and the tools and processes to get it done. The magic is we want to have whatever we want, and we want it the way we want it. So no effort, wave a Harry Potter wand. So that's what we want. We want everything to be magically the way we want it with no effort and energy. And the universe doesn't work like that. Nothing is like that. But the outcomes you want are available on the shelf, waiting for you to have them. All right. So a few weeks ago, I went and spoke at a near-death conference, International Association of Near-Death Studies. And that has caused me, listening to all the stories and meeting many people that weren't speakers and just interacting with folks who've had these interesting and unusual spiritual experiences. I don't even know if they're all that unusual. So I'm asking you right this minute to think in your own life. How many times have you felt inspired or received intuition that you knew was outside of your thinking? Like you knew you'd heard a voice internally from somewhere or someone. Like the universe was nudging you, speaking to you, pushing you, inviting you in a direction to do a thing or to not do a thing, to say a thing or to refrain from saying a thing. How often has that happened? And what does that have to do with creating the life of purpose, prosperity, and joy you deserve or that you can have? Well, it has everything to do with that. Because of our own intelligence, at least I won't speak for you, I don't have the chops. And I don't even care if maybe I could argue I do, which I'm not arguing. I would love all the help, insight, intuition, inspiration I can get. Why? Well, I'd love to do it with less mistakes, with less offending and hurting other people's feelings or, having to clean up messes I've made. And believe me, I've made plenty of those. So I want you to think about times you've received inspiration, intuition, gut feeling, you just know something. That is the beginning of touching the other side, touching heaven, touching the universe. That's the beginning of that. So here's an invitation. What would happen if you were able, or if you chose to cultivate that antenna so that you could hear intuition, inspiration all the time, so that you could reliably create connection with your, and I'm going to use a bunch of words here that people call them guiding angels, guardian angels, heaven, the universe, higher self, God. All of those things are names that we give them, and people are drawn to one name over another because it attracts them. Like some people hate the idea of organized religion. So God sometimes is offensive and they call it higher intelligence or whatever. It doesn't matter what you call it. It's there, you know it, and it's available to you. The question is, are you cultivating that antenna so you can hear it when you want, when you need it? Mostly what we do is we live our lives, and when crap goes really bad, then, oh, God, please help us. Oh, no. And then we turn to that source. Well, we do it with a rusty antenna and rusty controls, and maybe we get intuition and maybe we don't. And then we wonder why it's so hard. Well, it's so hard because you don't practice. I'm an accomplished pianist. I practice every single day still, exercises and things that I work on, plus songs I'm working on and everything else. Why would I do that? Well, I want to keep it sharp. Well, I do the same thing with intuition. I connect every single day with heaven, with the divine, with higher power. Why? Because I want to keep it sharp. I want to be able to play that tune anytime I want. Well, that's available to you. And one of the things I teach is how to do that. It's not a mystery. It's a skill you can develop. And it's powerful. All right. So I said those kind of feelings are a beginning of touching the other side. Near-death experiences, and there's a whole bunch of names for them, and I'm going to go over them. And tell you what they are, because I know you'll recognize some in your life. They are simply a bigger version of that, more of it, right? So think of it this way. You go watch a movie in a theater, and it's fun and it's exciting, whatever. And then you go see it in IMAX or some other technology that's immersive and Dolby 9000 or whatever it is. That's so powerful that it just blows you away, even though you've seen the movie. That's what these other experiences are like. They are a connection to things we know are there. One book I read called it Our Subtle Bodies. We know that this physical thing isn't all there is. If we lose a limb or both legs or something, we're still in there. Like our spirit. Someone said it's between the heart and the spine. Someone said it's the connection to the divines in the pineal gland, which is in between the brain hemispheres. I don't even care. You have a connection. You can develop it if you want it. And I, for one, have. And it's powerful, it's useful, and it makes me really happy and able to do things I wouldn't be able to do otherwise. It will do that for you. All right. Meditation is a tool, but learning to do it with that in mind is powerful. It's not about the form of meditation or how long you sit. It also has to do with belief. It has to do with trust. It has to do with faith in the context of knowing you can do something even if you haven't done it before. And it develops confidence and power. All right. So there are several things. One's called an STE, one's called an OBE, one's called ADC, one's called SDE, and one's called NDE. Ooh, a whole bunch of weird acronyms. All of them involve touching the other side, beyond where we are now, seeing or experiencing beyond this physical reality. And I'll describe each of them because I want you to think about what it means for you, because I know some of these you have experienced, and maybe many of them. So here's the question. Do you cultivate it? Do you milk that experience for all it's worth so that you are more guided, so that you are more connected? My connection to the divine makes me happy. I feel happier. I feel more confident. I feel more capable in my profession as a coach, as an author, as a musician. One of the things I love to do is performance keynotes. And I found that phrase on someone's website. A fellow that I met 11 years ago, we shared a stage. His name's Tiamo Di Vittore, I think, and I'm probably pronouncing that slightly wrong. But we shared a stage at an event in 2013, I think, and we both spoke, and it so happens we both sang. Now, he sang more than one song, and I only did one. And now he teaches a course in performance keynotes, and I love that. And I've done that other times too. In other words, spoken and sung as part of a keynote or part of a talk. But I didn't know he was creating a course teaching people how to do that. And I thought that was so much fun because I love to do it and I'm doing it more and more. My point was the connection to the divine, your spirit, to the infinite makes you more capable, more powerful, more confident. It helps you earn more money, which according to that news I saw is the most important thing on many people's minds right now. Inflation's high. The economy, quote, sucks, difficult to here and there. So what would it be worth to you to earn more cash? So you're more confident, capable, certain, you have a little more security. There's no reason you can't have that unless you don't want it. And you can say, I don't know how. Well, let me show you how. Reach out. This is your invitation. Reach out to me. Get on social, say you saw this, and reach out and let's schedule a time to talk. You are infinitely powerful. So let's go back to these different versions of touching the other side. And I want you to see. The first one and the easiest one to understand is something called a spiritually transformative experience. STE. Okay. And I didn't know all these acronyms before I went to the conference. STE, except one or two of them. What is that? Well, it is a time when something happens to you that is so powerful and transformative and unexpected and it is otherworldly. It is, you feel it. It contains experiences you can't fully describe or define, but it changes you. So spiritually transformative experience. It is some experience that you have. Maybe you're meditating. Maybe you weren't. Maybe you're praying. Maybe you weren't. But something takes place that makes you have greater insight, greater love for yourself and others, greater determination and it has changed you. And you can feel the spiritual energy, kind of like that fire behind me. Now, that is one version of that. Every person that I know, every single person has had some of that. It ranges from the small, which is those intuitions, to the enormous, which is, overwhelming and might last for minutes or hours. People write about these all the time. Werner Erhard, the guy that created Landmark, before that, but Landmark, was describing one that, when he went over the Golden Gate Bridge, he described a sudden burst of insight that did that. And Eckhart Tolle described the same thing. And so did Byron Katie. And so did a lot of people who have these kinds of times when they touch the other side and suddenly they realize things. What they want has changed. What they feel has changed. How they look at stuff, etc. Mostly it results in a greater desire to love and serve and be changed in some way. Unfortunately, what also happens, I said most people have them, what also happens is we don't do anything with them. It happens and we go, whoa, that was so unflippin' believable. Oh man, I'm so different and changed. And then we spend the rest of our lives or months or years talking about that instead of living from that change. That is a sadness, because the change, the experience was given to you to do something with, to make you powerfully and profoundly different. So remembering, accessing, and then following those kinds of things can be powerful. Another thing that's similar is called OBE, out-of-body experience. Now, some people go do plant medicine, or some people just get stoned and have out-of-body experiences. Generally, those are not the kind of spiritual transformations I'm talking about, although I'm not saying people don't have those if they go do certain kinds of plant medicines. I know client who does regularly that sort of thing, and he believes that it really helps him. So I'm not going to say anything about that. What I am saying is an out-of-body experience is like an STE, spiritually transformative experience, except you believe and feel that your spirit has left your body and is observing things from a different point of view. I have had that experience. It happened in 2007. It was wildly transformative, combination of STE-OBE. I wrote about it in a book called Tightrope of Depression. It was the experience that wildly changed me from a $3,000 a week drug addict to zero in a single day. Not because it changed my physiology and the cravings, it changed who I thought I was. So I decided without question I was done being that person, and that was the beginning of a long journey. So that is available. Maybe you've had something like that, but the more important question is, what are you doing with it? How is it changing your day-to-day being and helping you create the living you want, make the impact you want in the world? And if you're not using it that way, let's talk, because I can show you how if you want to. Maybe you don't want to, but if you want to, you can. Another thing is called ADC, which is after-death communication. Now that can be, and there's all kinds of documented. One of the interesting things about this conference was it was full of researchers who research and document all these kinds of things. Okay. And ADC, after-death communication, where someone who's passed away comes back and visits someone, maybe not as a visible spirit, but certainly where they can feel presence, and then tells them something they didn't know. The examples I heard at the conference was the location of a key to a safe, the location of some documents that nobody could find, and some other things that were really important that only the dead person knew, and now that they were gone was really creating some kind of problem. There were many others, messages that came from others on the other side, reconciliation invitations, kindness, sort of repentance or apologies, all kinds of things came in moving and powerful ways. Another one is NDE, which is near-death experience. I've experienced that and wrote about it in the book, Meeting God at the Door, where I had 3 conversations with God after I died at the door between life and eternity, and one of which was a choice to come back. SDE is a shared death experience where someone is transitioning and someone who's with them momentarily or for a few minutes or some period of time, their spirit goes with them and they are able to see and participate in things that are on the other side. And then they come back. They weren't dying, but they went with someone as they did. So those are just different versions, and there may be more. How many of those have you experienced? And you can say none or all of them. But the more important question is, why would anybody even give a heck? Why would anybody give a crap at all? What does it matter? Well, that's the crux of these experiences. They aren't given. I mean, we don't control them. The divine controls them, laws in the universe that we don't have the levers for control them. But what I do know is you do control your ability to touch the other side, to be given inspiration, to connect with the divine. You can learn to do that every single day. I know that because I have. I didn't used to be able to do that, and I have learned how. And that means inspiration, intuition, guidance, certainty, lack of fear. I know what to do, what to say, how to do things, less do-overs, less cleanup, less mistakes. And nobody's perfect, and so all those things still happen. But there is such peace and such ability that you have and I to love and serve others, which is how we make money. Like, we make money when we bring value to others' lives. We can sell them a widget, or we can teach them something, or we can help them realize that they're not using a great tool. They have a bar of gold in their mind and heart, and they're not using it. If you help somebody see and do that, what have you done? You've done them a massive service. But if you or I don't have the inspiration to realize we can do that, and then we don't do it, we haven't done a thing. And that opportunity is gone, at least for the moment. So, forgetting the spectacular ones about dying or shared death or anything else, even out-of-body experiences, although they happen, and maybe you've experienced that, here's the invitation for you. There's two invitations. Examine the experiences with the other side, the divine, the universe, the spirit world that you've already had. What did they teach you? What has changed for you? Okay, what was different? What did you learn? What were you instructed to do? What did you think about doing? What were you invited to do? Whatever the right word is. And with that, here's part two. Are you doing something with it intentionally in a focused way every day? Because those things happen for a reason. And I say that with absolute certainty. Every single person that I've had the privilege of speaking to, listening to, or reading about tells the same story. They felt called to do X. They felt like they could really do something that mattered, X, whatever it is for them. My own experiences have led me with certainty to know that you and I are divine. And because we are, we have infinite creative power and capability, and we have infinite possibility to create. So that's just a principle to know that. The more important thing is I now know exactly how to do it. And I am following that process, and it works. And it works over and over and over again. What a blessing to create purpose, prosperity, and joy. I have unfailing purpose that is invincible, motivating, and powerful. It creates prosperity in cash, in relationships, in creativity, in products and services that I can create, and how I love to add good to the world. It creates in me the certainty of how great you are, your capability and possibility, even though you're not here. I'd love for you to be here. That's why I'm inviting you to connect, and let's be together, either on Zoom or in real life, or whatever makes sense. Because you have that ability, even though you may or may not be using it. And if you've got that yearning, you know exactly what I'm talking about. So your invitation is to believe in yourself. It is to then, besides believing in yourself, to love yourself fiercely and without hesitation. And third, to do something with that. I don't know how, I don't know where to start. Then let's talk, because I can show you right here, right now. It's not that complicated. And I say that because most people overcomplicate it, but the complication is I'm afraid, maybe I'll get rejected, I don't have anything, I'm no good, and all of the rest of those kinds of stories, which are not true. You're a child of God. You're divine. You're of infinite worth. You're of infinite power. You have unique capabilities, skills, gifts, talents that will create impact, income, and a whole lot of fun. The life I live now is more fun than anything else I've ever done in my life. It makes more money and it makes more impact. Like, I can't figure out how it could be any better, except that it gets better every day in ways that I can't even anticipate. So I invite you to step into your version of that truth, your experience, your ability to make an impact and an income. It's there. It may be in some various stage of development, but if in your heart you're feeling that yearning, let's talk. Reach out to me. Meet with Kellen@gmail.com, www.yourultimatelife.ca. Or you can stay where you are and say, oh, that was interesting. And then in a day, a week, a month, a year, or a decade, you're still sitting with that yearning. Why would you do that to yourself? You're blessed, you're capable, and I love you. There is nothing except your own choices and lack of movement that will hold you away from your destiny and your possibility. No matter what has come before, you can start right this minute and begin to create your ultimate life.
Never hold back and you'll never ask why. Open your heart and this time around.
Right here, right now. Your opportunity for massive growth is right in front of you. Every episode gives you practical tips and practices that will change everything. If you want to know more, go to KellenFlukigerMedia.com. If you want more free tools, go here, YourUltimateLife.ca. Subscribe. Share.
Stand with your heart in the sky and your feet on the ground.